Okay, so I I'm not inside the Capitol building or House of Commons. I don't know exactly what's happening, but the situation is basically that the city of Ottawa and the powers that be wanted to accommodate protests in this capital city. That is a very Canadian thing to do, to accommodate protests and to allow people to come and do what they and say what they have to say and shout, scream, hey, hey, we won't go. That's very Canadian. It's something we want to do. So the police and the city council and all the powers that are involved, much like the Capitol situation in Washington, D.C., well, not like that, but in this situation, they looked at that and they wanted to accommodate people and say, hey, guys, come and do your peaceful protest. We understand COVID's a very sensitive issue. People are losing their jobs. We appreciate protests. It's good. Protest is good. We've had all kinds of protests. The thing is, when we have Canadian protests generally, and they're staged by non-white people, they can go for like 2 days, 3 days, and then they get like a bat upside their head, or they get dragged away, and the story's done. The situation with this is that these predominantly white protesters were able to come to Ottawa, our capital city, block streets, park cars, play some type of three-card Monty about getting gasoline for their trucks, sit in their trucks, live in their trucks, bring children to the protest, bring bouncy castles, bring jacuzzis as a kind of just really as a slight and a kind of a disrespect to the powers that be in Ottawa. Also, I personally believe that police and army people were collaborating with the protesters to make it easy for them because they were like, police were like handshaking, taking selfies. Because again, a lot of police don't believe in COVID vaccines or compulsory COVID vaccines. And just to make it clear, I don't really believe that anybody should be forced to have a vaccine if they don't want it. And I think that some people want to have a Novavax type of vaccine that's made from the virus itself, and it's a longer process to make that vaccine. They want more of a classic style vaccine. I understand it. So it's not a vaccine question. This is a rights question, and everybody has their right not to have the vaccine. The problem with Ottawa is that the powers that be allowed this predominantly white protest to persist and do whatever they wanted to do and listen to their Tragically Hip and have a good time and eat their poutine and drink their double doubles, have a great time in the capital. And that's the problem. So, yeah, protest all you want, but when you start making life difficult for other white people and making their lives miserable, that's when the problems start. So that's where we're at right now. So the act that Trudeau is putting in place is just an act that affirms and confirms that they're going to get taken out of place because um, our premier, which is like the governor of Ontario, he's been very lackadaisical. He's been like, "Listen, buddies, we don't have to do this. Let's chill." So he's been very lackadaisical. Whereas the premier of Quebec, he put the hammer down and he said, "Nope, not happening." Didn't even let them in. Didn't even let them start. And all the other cities in Ontario, because of Ottawa's example, were able to do the same to a degree. Not so much Windsor, not so much Sarnia. So it's not that the news media is telling fake stories about what Justin Trudeau is doing, but to characterize it as using some archaic law and taking people's rights away, no. What it's letting them know is that from a federal level, there's not going to be any more consideration for people and their feelings and wanting to protest. Go home, protest, do whatever you need to do, vote for another person, but you're not going to tie up the commerce and the streets of a major Canadian city any longer.